One thing that I really enjoy when it comes to my sales job is the ability to kind of leverage my inner creativity. So I definitely wouldn't have considered myself to be a creative person prior to working here. I'm definitely not like artistic or anything like that. But with the nature of my job, I do a lot of prospecting. So I'm trying to reach out to other sales leaders, and I know I need to stand out in order to actually engage in a conversation. So one thing that I'm doing now is a lot of video prospecting. I switch up my talk tracks when it comes to my calls or sending voice notes, that type of thing. So it's definitely gotten me to just be more creative and think of new ideas of how I can get someone's attention. So that's been a really cool thing that I've been working on and loving when it comes to the BDR role here.
One of the reasons that I love working in sales is the constant communication and the diversity of my day. Really, when it comes down to it, I'm able to communicate and talk with people across the world and really get to know them, their business, and ideally help to solve a pain point that I genuinely believe that my skill set can present a solution for. And at the end of the day, if I'm able to even just make a great connection and have a conversation and leave feeling like I've made some kind of impact on somebody's life from that conversation, then it's been an incredible day.
One thing that I've definitely struggled with when it comes to being a woman in sales is definitely the lack of resources that are created by other women. So I know there definitely are some, but they're just not as well known. So for example, when you looked at the LinkedIn influencers, most of them are males. Or when you look at top 10 list of sales books to read, most of them are written by men. So it's definitely something that I've struggled with, especially in the beginning. I used to think that I didn't necessarily sound like a salesperson, and I think it's because from all the webinars and books and other resources that I was reading, most of them were all from the male perspective. So I think just by having more female-led resources for other salespeople to learn from would be really helpful in this space. And not just for women to learn from other women, but also for men to learn from women as well. I think that's really important as well.
I think one of the most challenging things about being a woman in sales is not trying to fit yourself into a mold that wasn't created for you. The landscape of sales is changing so much, and as women become more prominent figures, especially in the last few years, it is something that we have to reshape. And so to be able to find your place and really create that space to be women in sales and include more women and be more diverse and inclusive generally across your sales team is something that can seem quite hard and quite daunting when you don't feel represented yourself.
First and foremost, because they absolutely crush it. They're good at it. I'm fortunate enough to work with two salespeople, both of whom are women, who have a hunger to learn, they adapt quickly, and that directly translates into high performance each and every day. Secondly, they have a team-first attitude, and they're fun to be around. No more of this being afraid to bring up things that aren't working. It fosters an environment where being vulnerable is okay, and overcoming challenges is what we all should strive towards, helping each other out from a team perspective. And lastly, there just aren't enough women in sales. A study a couple years back highlighted that 39% of salespeople in the US were women. That was a 3% increase in the previous decade, and 21% of VPs of sales were women. If women don't get into sales roles initially, there's going to be an imbalance at the top that doesn't reflect well on your organization in the market.
It's important for more women to be present in sales because this will show that department is not only just built for men. Having that representation will show that this is a department and career that women can succeed in. And then having more women on the sales team will give more perspectives and life experiences that everyone on the team can learn and grow from. So that's super important to make sure that you're building a diversified team that appeals to everyone, not just males or just females.
The problem with only having, 100% male team is that when it comes to thinking of ideas or trying to tackle challenges, you have a limited number of perspectives on how you can actually address that challenge. But by bringing in women and other people from diverse backgrounds, you get new ideas, fresh outputs, and people with different life experiences to help tackle challenges, think of creative ways to approach customers, or cut through the noise. For one, even that's another thing. I recently read a stat that women have a higher close rate on average than men salespeople. I think the average is 89% of women are hitting their quota in account executive roles, while only 79% of male salespeople are. Another side effect is that because women traditionally haven't been the people in sales, it's a pattern interrupt for a customer to receive a call from a women salesperson. Women bring so much new to the table, and for our team especially, it's just made that every challenge, every conversation has such a great amount of context and different plans of attack that come from everything. We get so much better at solving problems, and it just feels like a much nicer place to work.
I think sales leaders can really make a difference toward being more inclusive and having more women on their sales teams by making themselves a bit uncomfortable and putting themselves in situations that they otherwise wouldn't, because sometimes it's easier, if 20 men are applying for your sales team and they all have great resumes and they'd all be a really good fit, your instinct is to go with what's easy. But I think as we move forward as a community, we need to do the hard things. We need to look outside of the pool that we're hiring from. We need to look outside of the community that we're working within. And we really need to make a genuine effort to go and seek out that talent that otherwise may not feel the most comfortable, may not feel the most welcome, because you haven't made the move first. And I think it's something incredible that sales leaders can do to make that first move and bring that kind of diversity to their teams.
The one thing that I think that sales leaders can do to make their teams more inclusive and supportive to women is actually having those conversations around what it's like being a woman in sales. I think by hearing those different perspectives and opinions and everything, it'll really help shed some more light on what it's actually like for women in this field. And this will also help align the whole sales team on just the different experiences and how women experience the sales role.